Blog Talk Radio.
What's going on, folks? It's your boy Long Beach Joe, and I am back at it again. I'm back at it again, man. I am back at it again, and I am excited, man. We got a lot to discuss tonight. Salutes to everybody watching. Salutes to all the savages in the chat. Salutes to everybody on the lines already as well. Give me 1 second. We're going to get to everybody. The lines are already hot. All right? We're going to be discussing a lot tonight, man. I'm talking a lot. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to be discussing the New York Jets linebacker position. We're also going to be talking about some other stuff as well. A lot of heat surrounding Carl Lawson as well. A lot of people fired up. He's going to be coming back. Training camp's a little bit of ways away. A lot of people talking about that. Salute to How About Them Jets. Good to see you in here as well, my friend. Good to see all the savages coming around doing their thing. But let me go ahead and get into it. Listen, I'm the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback, okay? I love hearing about what you folks think I do here on The Long Beach Joe Show. All right? Listen, your boy is on iTunes, in case you didn't know that. All right? I'm on iTunes. Go on over to iTunes, right? The Long Beach Joe Show, okay? Subscribe to that show. Subscribe to that podcast, leave me a 5-star rating, and give me some feedback, okay? I want to thank everybody that does that. I truly appreciate you folks that do that. It is always greatly appreciated to see how much people, enjoy what I'm doing here. Let them know. Salute to TV watcher as well in the chat. Always good to see you in here, too. Your boy is also on Twitter as well, YoungJ000, okay? Go on over to Twitter, put that in, right? Follow. I'll follow you right back. You can also go to the show's page as well, at The Long Beach Joe, Go on over there, all right? And, again, I'll follow you right back, and let's go back and forth and talk about this football team. And for those of you that want to watch the show live, okay, listen, I know I have a great voice. People tell me that, all right? But I'm also handsome. I'm just saying. This is what I have been told, okay? I have a face made for TV, okay? All right? So if you want to watch the show live, if you want to catch all of my content as well, go on over to YouTube, all right? Type in Long Beach Joe Jets on YouTube, okay? Type that on in and come on and join us. Hit that subscribe button and then hit that notification bell so when I post content, y'all be in the know. You know what I'm saying? Salutes to Curvin Ledger as well. Good to see you in here as well, my friend. Salutes again to all the savages in the chat. You folks want to know why I call my chat the savages? Because they are savage, man. Straight savage. Nobody is safe, okay? Nobody is safe, not even me. If you give a take that they don't like, they're going to let you know about it, okay? Everybody gets it. Nobody is safe. Salutes to all the savages, man. So we're going to get into the show now. Fired up. I'm excited. New York Jets, a lot of things coming. Again, training camp is a little bit of ways away, but it's coming. Down the pike is going to be happening this month, so we're all excited about that. And when I started to look at the New York Jets roster, one of the things I started to look at this defense, and I said to myself, this linebacker situation, it's got me wondering a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you, all right? You look at our current linebackers right now, CJ Mosley, I think is our best linebacker, right? Wouldn't you folks agree? You look at what he did for us last season. I think he had 103 tackles. He had some sacks. He was making impact play after impact play, right? We saw him make big plays when we played the Titans. He made a lot of stops when we played the Broncos. He was smacking people around. We saw him really go out there and put on. But here's a guy, again, that's getting older and older, right? He's not going to be around for long. Now, keep in mind, he's getting paid big money thanks to Mike Maccagnan, okay? Thank you, Mike Maccagnan, for those big contracts. I am so glad that Mike Maccagnan is gone. Man, whew, that time is over, all right? We've got a better general manager here, but still and yet, CJ Mosley, that was one of the guys that Mike Maccagnan grabbed in here and made him a very, high-paid player. He's one of the highest-paid, linebackers ever in the league. So when you look at the situation of how much he's getting paid right now, it's $17.5 million this season. If we keep him around, $18.5 in 2023 if we keep him around. So you start to wonder, what's going on here at this New York Jets linebacker position. Yes, CJ played extremely well for us, but, man, that is a lot to be paying a linebacker. That's a lot to be paying an inside linebacker. So you start to look at, okay, well, what do we have around here? What is something else? Who is somebody else who can kind of step up? And one of the guys that I think looks really good in our linebacker position, Quincy Williams. This is the brother of Quinton Williams. Quincy Williams was a guy that Joe Douglas was able to get into the, Jets roster late, really late free agency signing, a guy that not a lot of people were talking about, right? We get him on the roster, and he really popped for us last year. 110 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. This guy played extremely well for us, played huge for us in a lot of spots. I think one of the biggest issues if we continued, if you watched last season, was Gerard Davis, a guy that is now gone. We moved on from Gerard Davis. Salute to him. He's gone off and he's joined another team. Gerard Davis was a guy that once he came back from his injury, we started to see a little bit less of Quincy Williams. But when Quincy was out there, particularly earlier in the season, we saw him make play after play after play, a lot of big plays. He did a lot of damn good things for the New York Jets defense. And so when you look at a lot of the expectations for him this year, there's a lot of people saying that he's a guy that is going to have a big-time impact in the New York Jets roster, that he's going to have a big-time impact, not just in our linebacking core, but he may be a guy that could pop up and possibly be a Pro Bowl linebacker. I'm hearing a lot of Jets fans talk about this because of what he was able to do, a lot of the plays he was able to make out there. He provided a lot of spark for the New York Jets linebacking core last season. Now, there was some struggles as well. We saw our linebacking core kind of get beat up a bit by, screens. We were struggling against the run as well at times. I think we were 29th against the run. We saw a lot of issues there, right? But again, even with some of the pieces that was added, more pass rush. We've also saw some upgrades in our secondary as well. I think that's going to help our linebacking core out a little bit. I still am worried about the matchups with tight ends. I still am worried about the guys coming out of the backfield as well. But with CJ and Quincy Williams out there and a lot of the additions that we've been able to make, I think this Jets defense is going to tick up a little bit. Now, keep in mind, one of the things that I think is really going to be something I'm going to be watching this season is the growth and uptick of our young linebackers, Jamin Sherwood and Hamza Nasruddin. It is extremely important that these two young guys, develop and get better and become better linebackers for us this upcoming season, okay? Listen, Jamin Sherwood played in about 5 games. He tore his Achilles against New England. He had about 15 tackles this season. Hamza Nasruddin played about 12 games. He tore his ACL. He had about 10 total tackles. We didn't see enough of these guys to figure out exactly what they were going to be, right? So here we're coming into his next season with these 2 young guys, and I'm hoping to really see them take a step forward. This will be the second year, in the scheme for them. I want to see, hey, can these guys fit what we're trying to do here? Can these 2 young guys be the future for the New York Jets at linebacker? Because when you look at the rest of our defense, honestly, our secondary, which I already thought was pretty solid, we ended up getting Sauce. You look at our safety position, getting Whitehead. We got LaMarcus Joyner back. You look at our defensive line, it's been upgraded. We got Jermaine Johnson, Carl Lawson's coming back, Quinton Williams is expecting a big year. When you look at this Jets defense, the biggest question mark, and I think one of the biggest weaknesses on it, is the Jets linebacking core because it's so weak. It's so weak. After CJ Mosley, again, who's getting older, after Quincy Williams, a guy that's on the uptick, you really have a lot of question marks after that. And so that's why it is imperative for Jamin Sherwood and Hamza Nasruddin to step up this season and be better. So I want to see what these 2 guys are going to bring to the table this year. So it's extremely important. So I'm going to get to the callers because I can go on forever and ever and ever, okay, because we got a lot to discuss today. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get to the lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We are taking our callers again. When you're calling in, keep in mind, if you're watching as well on YouTube, please subscribe, hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Please hit that like button as well. You know what I'm saying? It's always greatly appreciated. If you want to give to the stream, the Super Chat is there. If you don't want to hit the Super Chat and you want to hit the Cash App, my Cash App is there as well. Anything you give to the stream is greatly appreciated, okay? So now we're going to get to these lines. Again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is number. Call in. We're taking our callers. So first guy I'm going to go to is my guy, Colin. Jeremy, we'll come to you in a second. Salutes to you, Colin. How are you feeling today, my friend?
Hey, Joe. Good evening, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So, listen, Colin, we're talking about this New York Jets linebacking core right now, man. And when you look at it, when you look at CJ Mosley and how great he was last season, do you expect him to be even more dominant this upcoming season?
Yeah. First of all, let me just say, Joe, thank you for keeping us informed with all the news, because I've actually stepped away from all the craziness for a little while before I just drive myself nuts with, what's going to happen with this team. But yeah, I'm trusting the process, like Robert Saleh says, right? I'm trusting in these guys that, they're doing, everything necessary to make the team better. And, I'm just looking forward for preseason to see, guys actually competing to, make the roster. And then from there, I'm just hoping for some competitiveness this season. Everyone, is in their second year at least. And I'm looking for guys to step up and, really shine this year. So, that's my goal. I've kind of like stayed away from, all the different scenarios and the what ifs, and, just trusting the process now at this point. But I just wanted to get on the show and, mention that to you. But CJ Mosley is a guy I've always liked. I don't care how much money the guy is making. When the guy is on the field, he always gives 110%, and the other players respect him, and I think they kind of like flourish off of him as well. So I'm hoping he give us another impressive year. So that's my hope.
Yeah, listen, I hear you. Colin. I understand, money matters to me. When you pay an inside linebacker $17.5 million, I think he's phenomenal. But, and especially when you don't have really an answer behind him, and if you keep him again, that's 18.5. That's a lot to eat up on a cap, especially, again, when you're a team that's still trying to build around a young quarterback. Again, we've definitely improved quite a bit with some of the moves that we've been able to make, but that's, you got to wonder, hey, okay, what's the future there? And I think when you start to look around this linebacking core, a name that comes up is Quincy Williams. A lot of fans are hyped about him. A lot of fans are excited what he's bringing to the table. We saw a lot of good things out of him last season. There's a lot of Jets fans talking about him possibly being a guy that could maybe be a Pro Bowl contending linebacker. What are your thoughts about him, and do you think all this hype that's starting to, buzz up and jumble around him, do you think it's warranted?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's warranted in the minds of any Jets fan, right? That's what we hope and pray for. But, at the end of the day, I'm not going to buy into hype on any player at this point. I mean, they all have an opportunity to do well. But, for me now, it's more so let me see on the field what actually happens. I'm not gonna be the one this year to be like overhyped on a player or players, and then these guys, they don't perform, and then you're disappointed, right? So we have a lot of talent. We have a lot of young talent. I'm looking forward for Robert Saleh, Michael Floor, all these guys to improve in their second year. And these players to improve. So for me, I know a lot of Jets fans are saying playoffs and all this stuff. I just want to see
a lot of talk.
These guys improve, and I want to see these guys do better than they do before, from coaching to the players. and be competitive. I don't care if we only win 5 games, but the games you lose, they have to be like maybe a field goal or some kind of last minute drive that you lost the game or something. But we're not going to go in New England and lose 50-9, right? If that's happening, then nothing's changed, right? So my goal is to see this team being more competitive, the coaching, much better than last year. And, if we get W's, we get W's. But I'm not setting expectation high on how many games we're going to win or, which players are going to be like a Pro Bowl or anything like that.
Yeah, here's the thing, though, Colin. And I hear what you're saying, and I understand that. But you have to, you're a Jets fan, I'm a Jets fan. You have to look at a lot of the things that Joe Douglas has done with this roster, a lot of the improvements that he's made. You have to say that expectations have been raised, though, right? I mean, look at what we did in free agency.
Sure.
We went out and got Lakeland Tomlinson. You got Corey Davis coming back. You got Elijah Moore, who looks like he's going to be excellent. We drafted Garrett Wilson. You got, Zach Wilson, who's a guy that really showed some flash in the second half of the season. We went out and got Bryce Hall. Like, we've done so much. We went out and got Uzama. We went out and got Conklin. We drafted Jeremy Ruckert. There's been so many things that we've done, right? Jermaine Johnson. You have to think that expectations have been raised. So I'm guessing you would understand why there's so many fans. Even, you talked about playoffs. CJ Mosley himself, has been quoted as saying that he expects this team to get into the playoffs. He expects that because of everything that we've done on this roster, though, right, Colin?
Oh yeah. Listen, it's a new team in my opinion. It's a better team than it is last year. And this is what I'm saying. Coaching has to be better. And if coaching is better, if Zach Wilson is better, this team can go far. But, everything looks good, when it's on paper. But when you got to put everything on the field, right? And that's when you're going to really see, hey, are these players playing up to the potential that they're supposed to? And that's what I want to see. I want to see these guys playing to the potential, to the expectations that we have of them. That's what I'm looking forward to. Garrett Wilson. We have all the weapons, right? We have everything you can think of. So now it's just a matter of, coaching, learning the playbook, and executing. Right? That's what we have to see now. So, I'm excited. But I'm not gonna say, hey, this team should make the playoffs or anything like that. Okay. But I expect that they will play much better this year than they played last year.
I respect that, Colin. You're a very even keel fan. I'm telling you, there's a lot of Jets fans that are saying, with the moves that we've made, this team better make the playoffs. But one of the things that you talked about as well is you want to see what guys are going to do when they get back out there on the field, right? One of the guys that there's a lot of talk about surrounding right now is Mekhi Becton. When you look at this offense, a lot of people have a lot of questions around. There's a lot of negative comments, coming about him. What are your thoughts about Mekhi at this point, and how are you feeling about him competing for that left tackle position? It's going to be my final question for you.
Oh, listen, I love Mekhi, and I'm glad that the guy is healthy and he's going to be back in the lineup. Personally, listen, if he gets shift to right or if he wins out left, that's great. What I don't want to see is the guys that we consider our star guys getting hurt. I'm hoping and praying that we don't have another year like we had last year. So I want to see what this team look like with the star potential players. That's like, the one thing I want to see. I want to see a healthy Mekhi Becton, healthy Carl Lawson, and, I want to see a no-excuse team. I want to see where, people are not making an excuse. Well, we don't have this guy, we don't have that guy. I want to see, a no-excuse team, and I want to see how these guys actually play. So, man, I'm excited for, everyone being healthy and, just get him back on the field. And like I say, let's take it one game at a time. Let's go out there and win one game at a time. And hey, if we make the playoffs, that's great. But let's go and be very competitive and don't bow down to any team, because there's a lot of teams now that are really good, and there's a lot of quarterbacks in this AFC East that we have to deal with, plus just the AFC in general, right? There's just so many guys now that we have to compete with. So, let's go out there and try to beat each team, one day at a time. Yeah.
So here's my last question for you, Colin. You talked about Mekhi Becton being moved over to right tackle. If he does lose the left tackle position and get moved to right tackle, would you consider him a bust?
No, because the guy's still young. The guy's still fairly young. I mean,
You're
what
right.
is this going to
You're
be?
right, but hold on. Let me play devil's advocate for a second, Colin. Now, I understand he's still young, but if you drafted this guy to be your franchise left tackle, and a guy like George Fant, right, who played very well for us last year, but again is kind of a journeyman, swing tackle, kind of a journeyman swing offensive lineman. If George Fant can come in the door, take your position, then what exactly did we draft Mekhi Becton for if he's not going to be our starting right tackle? I'm just playing devil's advocate. That's just the question.
No, I mean, listen, the way I look at it, George Fant, he's an experienced guy. And, Mekhi Becton, in his first year, he was very raw, right? And then he got hurt in the second year, right, if I'm correct. So, in my opinion, guys do need time to groom, and maybe it's better that if he plays right tackle, maybe, the pressure on him at right tackle may not be as much as it is depending if he plays left tackle. So, let him grow. He has to grow. All these guys have to grow. They're young and they're learning,
Okay.
So, him being moved to right tackle is not a sign of weakness or anything like that, or bust or anything like that. Is that, the guys need some time to develop and learn. Experience comes over time. You don't just walk in the door and everything. So, they need time. They need time to fail on the field and learn as well. It's when you're not learning from your mistakes, that's when you're a bust to me. But, if you learn from your mistakes and you don't make the same mistakes often, that's improvement. So, yeah, he's not a bust.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, Colin, I hear you.
Not at this moment.
No, I'm just saying, there's a lot of fans saying, listen, if George Fant beats him out and he gets moved to right tackle, he's a bust. And I've had a lot of discussions. I've gone back and forth, and I've talked about how, listen, you could be a guy that can come in and be a franchise right tackle and still be a solid contributor for a year. I would agree that even if he get moved to right tackle, I wouldn't consider him a bust. But, again, there's a lot of takes going either way. But, listen, Colin, I want to thank you for calling in, man. You brought the heat tonight, man. Listen, we're going to continue with these lines. Again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We are taking all callers. The lines are hot. Again, please subscribe if you have not subscribed. Hit that notification bell, all right? So when I post content, you folks will be in the know. Also give the stream a thumbs up as well. One of the things I wanted to talk about tonight as well, Max Mitchell, guy we drafted, just signed 4-year deal, $4.5 million contract. And it also has a $796,000 signing bonus. So we've gotten another one of our draft picks signed and in the building. You know what I'm saying? So salutes to Joe Douglas getting the job done. Listen, next I'm going to a guy. My guy. We're gonna go to Jeremy, okay? For those of you that do not know, okay? Jeremy is in the building. Hold on a second. And he's a savage. He's a savage. Man. Listen, for those of you that don't know, me and Jeremy go back and forth often about the New York Jets. Salute to you, Jeremy. I want to thank you for calling in. How are you feeling tonight, my friend?
It's good to be here, man. I feel good.
That's great. Listen, Jeremy, we're talking about a lot tonight, man. A lot. Got a lot to talk about. We're talking about this New York Jets linebacker position now. And when you look at this linebacker position, do you think that this is the weakest position group on this New York Jets defense?
I do, but I'm skeptical about it because last year at this time, I thought the secondary was the weakest part of our team and was like thinking people were going to just air out on us and just throw the ball all over the field and we were going to have no chance of stopping it. And it turned out that really stopping the run was the issue. And we got pretty good secondary play out of a rookie in Bryce Hall. And, you know, by the way, I'm very excited about our secondary now that they, who I thought did a pretty good job, are now the number 3 and 4 guys. So I'm concerned about linebacker. I'm not going to lie, obviously. I mean, I think we all expected to do something in the linebacker position, whether it's free agency or the draft. So there's a concern there, but there's also this possibility that they have information that we don't have, that maybe Jamie Sherwood, they seem to really believe in this kid, and maybe they're very confident that he's going to come out and surprise us. I like to point out that Quincy Williams, not only did he have some shining moments, but if you look at a lot of the mistakes he made and some of the things that, you know, the negatives on him, a lot of that was because he wasn't in training camp. He didn't really have time to learn the scheme. He was, you know, kind of picked up late. So he was learning as he went. So there's a strong possibility that Quincy Williams can come back and be the positives, the big play, big hitting guy with a lot less mistakes because he's more comfortable in the system. And that's really going to help CJ Mosley out. And then, I don't know, you got Nazaldine, right? And you got Jamie, and we're going to see if one of these guys steps up. But I feel like JD and the coaching staff knows what they're doing as far as building the roster. And for right now, I'm going to just extend my trust to them that they know what they're doing, that they have some kind of plan, and we just don't know that plan, and we're going to see. And if we come out, we're horrible at linebacker and it's killing the team, then we're obviously going to all be frustrated and say, what the hell were you thinking? But if they come out and great, and CJ's great, and it's not an issue, and one of those young guys steps up, then we're going to say, okay, that explains it. Now we knew what it was all about.
Yeah. You listen, and again, I want to thank you for calling in, Jeremy. Listen, I'm looking at this linebacker situation, and I'm saying, okay, CJ Mosley, I'm excited about him. We all know that he did a lot of great things for us last season. But I'm looking at these cap numbers, and I'm saying his time in here is ticking, okay? Because you cannot keep a guy that is making this type of money and then not really have an answer necessarily behind him, right? You talked a little bit about Jamin Sherwood, Hamza Nazaldine. These are 2 guys coming off some big injuries. The Achilles injury with Sherwood, the ACL with Nazaldine. So you got to wonder, okay, how can these guys recover from those injuries, right? We've seen ACLs and Achilles really, halt a lot of guys' careers, really curtail a lot of guys' careers. Can these young guys not only, recover from these injuries and come back, but then when they do come back, okay, what exactly are we getting out of them? Because they didn't play much. And, so it's almost like they're coming back and trying to acclimate themselves back into the system again and figure things out as well because they're such young players. So that's a big question. Even in the chat, again, salutes to all the Savages. Jetsmith says he thinks that both of those guys are going to end up on the PUP list. So it's like you already got people pretty much counting them out again this upcoming season and saying, hey, both of these guys, probably aren't going to see much time on the field. They're going to get injured again. So you got to wonder about their health going forward. Now, Quincy Williams, he's a guy that I'm excited about as well. A lot of the things that we saw, a lot of the flashes, he made a lot of big plays. And like you said, too, this was a guy that when we signed him, a lot of people weren't talking about him much at all because he was such a late free agent signing. But we got him in the building. He was really able to put some things together and show those flashes and show those plays. We were extremely excited. Now, another thing that's coming up as well for him is this is a big contract year for him as well. If he plays extremely well, man, that number is going to go up to bring this guy back into the building, and that's going to be my next question for you is there's a lot of people, there's a lot of Jets fans that are looking at him thinking that he can be a possible Pro Bowl contending linebacker this upcoming season. Do you believe that?
I don't like to put labels like that on it. It's extreme, to put Pro Bowl on him. I mean, I'm not putting the expectation that he has to be like Micah Parsons or, one of these elite linebackers. And I don't think it's really what we're asking him to be. Especially because, we like to put the linebackers in a lot of coverage. So you don't always get your name called in that situation. As a matter of fact, it's a good thing not to have your name called because it means something bad's not happening. So I don't know if, it'd be great if he made the Pro Bowl. That would be amazing. It would be an incredible and amazing surprise, but it's not something that I'm overly concerned about or thinking about. That I just want him to just be a good fit in the system and do what you're supposed to do in the system, because we know when every player individually does what they have to do in this system, you can look at San Francisco. We know it works.
Absolutely. And that's what I tell people all the time. And that's why I'm so excited about a lot of the additions that we made, because I thought that last season we struggled because we didn't have the pieces to necessarily run this defense to its full capacity. That's why you saw a lot of certain calls by Sulla. We had issues bringing pressure. There was no pass rusher. Now we've upgraded there with, Jermaine Johnson being brought into the building. Carl Lawson, coming back as well, from his injury, which we'll get into in just a second. So, we've definitely amped up. We've even, like you talked about a little bit earlier as well, us, improving our secondary. We got, Sauce in the building. We went and got Whitehead. We've done so many things to really pump up this defense, to put it in the best situation to really execute what I think Sulla is going to be trying to do and attack this year as well. I think we'll have a very, much more of an attacking style of defense, really putting pressure on people, which is what you see in San Francisco. And we're running the exact same scheme. Now, when you talk about, again, a lot of the additions that we made, Jeremy, are you expecting this defense to be better against the run this year than they were last year with a lot of the pieces that we have now?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, part of it is just from growth and learning that system. That was so interesting about last year is that we were doing it on both sides of the ball. Two different systems that none of the players, knew, that they all had to learn. And, so just coming back, a lot of the players coming back with experience, but also people don't realize how much of a change is in this defense. I mean, it's a complete facelift. Think about it. The two safeties that will start the season, most likely, LaMarcus Joyner, right? We know that, and Whitehead, and the two cornerbacks that are projected to start right now, all four people, because Joyner was hurt last year. He got hurt so early. None of them really played for us last year. So it's four new faces. And then you bring back like Michael Carter II, who I think had a fantastic rookie year, in doing slot corner for us. And he's only going to get better because we've seen it a million times. I mean, typically how much, we've seen players get better their second year, obviously, from their first year. If he was so good as a rookie, now he's coming back with some experience, feeling a little bit more confident. I think we're only seeing the beginning of this kid. All of these guys have something to do with the run. I mean, Whitehead, I did a whole video on him of just highlights of him of making tackles behind the line of scrimmage. The guy is a missile. He reads plays really well. He's really smart. He actually reminds me, as far as the way he plays in the box. Remember, when he was still a Jet, Jamal Adams actually sat and did a video. He was highlighted explaining how he read plays and why he was able to react so fast and get into the backfield. Well, I kind of see Jordan Whitehead as that kind of box safety. That's what he does. He reacts really well. He reads what's going on. He has incredible explosive burst. He just moves from one part of the field to the other really fast. I think he's going to be a tremendous help. I think Sauce Gardner is going to be a tremendous help. And I think the defensive line, without a question, is going to be the biggest difference. And I think people don't understand it wasn't just the interior. Now that we get Carl Lawson back, now that we get, we have JJ, and Jacob Martin, you can't forget about him. These are all guys who are very skilled in setting the edge, and that is something also that's very important in stopping the run. So I think it's a very different defense. We're coming in with a complete facelift. So while I can't guarantee we're going to be a great defense yet, I'm definitely going to not harp on last year and think that that's the indicator of who we're going to be this year.
Yeah, no, listen, I hear your takes there. I think, again, like you said, with the upgrades that we've made, I expect us to be better against the run as well. You talked a little bit about the interior. I expect Quincy Williams to really take a step forward, too. He was hampered by injuries as well. We've seen Quincy Williams be dominant against the run before. He's a guy that can get into the backfield and really wreak some havoc there. And, again, with the addition of Jermaine Johnson and Carl Lawson, I think that a lot of these opposing offenses are going to have to pick their poison. You can't just double-team Quincy Williams and say, okay, we've got everybody else. It's like, no, you're going to have to either figure out how to, game plan for Jermaine Johnson and Carl Lawson and see if you can just cover, Quincy Williams with one-on-ones. And I'm telling you, when Quincy gets those one-on-ones, I think he's going to dominate them. And, again, we've seen him really take off. And that foot injury, he had other injuries as well that I think really hampered him and his play. He even talked about it, his need to really step up and become an impact player on every single down is going to be huge going into this season. So I think he's going to be really effective against the run. You talked about Whitehead as well, and that's a guy that I've spoken about constantly. Man, in the run game, he's a guy that comes down into the box and will just absolutely destroy you. And like you said, he's a heat-seeking missile. He sees the ball, you're trying to run it, and he's going to come down and really drill you. So I think that we've made a lot of improvements against the run. I think that we are really going to be a much better defense against the run than we were last season. I also think we're going to be much better against screens and these short passes. You remember those, Jeremy? Us just getting ate up by running backs coming out of the backfield. I think that Sulla's definitely going to be able to do some things against that as well with Whitehead out there in coverage too. I think this defense is just going to be much better against all of those things, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Those screen passes, a lot of missed tackles. We have some guys now that don't miss tackles. So that's going to be up too. It's like how many missed tackles were and how much space were we giving? And it's about closing space. That's what it's about. What's funny is when we talk about the defensive line, we haven't even mentioned JFM, who could play on the outside or the inside. And, if you try to not only if you can't double team Q because of what we have on the edge, if you're lining JFM up next to him, then how are you going to double team him? Because JFM will eat you alive from the inside. I think he's a better inside player than he is out. So,
and a lot of people aren't even talking about Sheldon Rankins. Yeah. Sheldon Rankins, too. Yeah. Sheldon Rankins is another guy that I think is going to come back and really put some things together as well.
I mean, look, people forget. Everyone wants to harp on the negative. I watched the highlights of last year. So someone put it on YouTube. It was like literally went through the season, the highlights of all the plays on defense, and to break it down. And a lot of them were Rankins. I know he needs to learn the system. There were some things we need to, that we want to see him step up his game a little bit more in certain areas. But he also makes a lot of big plays. He definitely makes big plays. And if he's healthy, I'm excited about Rankins. He stays healthy. Yeah. Look at this rotation. We just have so many guys, and they're going to be fresh the whole game, which is just even more dangerous for the other team. As we wear down their offensive line, our defensive line's rotating and rotating. We're keeping our guys fresh. So you're not going to see one of those situations where in the middle of the third quarter, the worst thing you can imagine as a fan when you see your defensive line with their hands on their hips, which is the absolute end. You know it's over when you see that. You're not going to see that because we have enough players to take them out and bring guys in that are fresh.
And now I know we're talking a bit about the defense. I want to go to the offense with you, Jeremy, because we haven't discussed in a little bit of what's going on offensively here for the New York Jets. So first, I want to start with this offensive line. And, of course, when we talk about the offensive line, the first guy a lot of people want to look at is Mekhi Becton, man. What are your thoughts around all the negative comments coming from fans, the media, so on and so forth about Mekhi Becton? How do you feel about him right now, and what are your thoughts about him competing for that left tackle position?
I've been fighting with fans on Twitter all day who are just the things that people are saying about Mekhi Becton are just so off and disgusting to me. Like, it's just repulsive. Look, I have no qualm with or problem with anyone who has concerns. I have concerns, but most of my concerns are where they should be. My concerns about Mekhi Becton is he had an injury in his knee that kept him out all of last year. And my concern is I'm worried about his knee. I just want him to – I'm scared. I want him when he's playing and he's – I want his knee to hold up. Obviously, just like I want Lawson's ankle to hold up. I'm worried about guys who are injured and how their injuries are going to hold up. That's my number one concern. These guys, Main Street beat media guys or whatever. There's a few of them that are sitting there yelling out these numbers, and it's all ridiculous because none of them are in the weight room looking at the scale when he gets on it. To me, the guy looks the same as he's always looked. I've never seen him look any different. I mean, he's a big man. That's who he is. He's just a huge man. That's part of what makes him great. And I've seen a lot of very big offensive tackles. To me, it's just let's wait till he gets on the field. If he's slower and he's not playing well because he's overweight, if that's true, we'll see it, and then we could all be upset by it. But I have no reason to make that assumption. The guy has always been ready to play when it's time to play. He had a great rookie year, and last year was unfortunate, and there was nothing he can do about it. But I don't think he's not working hard. People are calling him lazy. It's like I want to see what them get up at 5 a.m. and do what he's doing. I mean, they won't give this kid a break. They're all over him and making all these decisions about him. McGovern, nobody cared that McGovern was with his wife when she gave birth. Nobody talked about it. With Becton, it's like the biggest deal in the world. Like, all they're talking about, he's not at a voluntary camp. It's like, give me a break. The guy just became a father. I wouldn't go to any voluntary work if I just became a father, or if I was an expecting father. I wouldn't leave my wife alone and go out of state if I didn't have to. So, people are like expecting them to be beyond human beings, like so committed to football. But I have an important job in my life, but I still put my family first. Like, they're human beings. Yeah. Let them be human beings. So the whole thing just bothers me. I actually made a declaration to my wife. I said, I'm not going to fight with people over Mekhi Becton anymore. I'm just going to wait. What we should all do is let's wait till he gets to camp. Let's see what happens, and let's see how he plays. This was a guy that was going to be, one of our – I mean, when we left that 2020 season, we had 3 names to be excited about, maybe 4, right? We had Quincy Williams, we had Denzel Mims, we had Mekhi Becton, and we had Marcus May. Who else was there on this roster? Right? I mean, we had like nothing. There was some hope for Sam Darnold, but it was, Adam Gase. But go ahead. Yeah. There's a little bit of hope left for Sam Darnold. So, but the reality is the guy got rolled on in his knee. Nothing has happened. It was game 1. Nothing has happened to change what we should feel about him as far as his rookie season. And, if he ends up being right tackle, I'm going to assume he's right tackle because they're going to do exactly what makes us the best possible team right now in the moment. And if hold on a second, because that's where I wanted to go with you next. Okay, look, I hear what you're saying about the weight and stuff like that. I'm not a guy that is bashing. I'm not a Mekhi, basher. Everyone knows I support Mekhi. I think he's phenomenal, okay? And like you said as well, there's always been this thing with him with weight and the media constantly talking about his weight. I remember, I think it was last season, he showed up to camp. He showed up to the off-season stuff, and he looked leaner than he did the year that we drafted him, and they were still saying that he was fat. I remember it. I remember it like it was yesterday. He was dropping videos on his Instagram and everywhere, and he looked so lean it was ridiculous. And people were like, nope, he's out of shape. Oh, he's fat. And then all these reports were coming. And I was like, I don't think you guys exactly know how he's supposed to look. Because this guy looks way leaner than he did the day that we drafted him. I'll never forget it. So the whole weight thing and that story behind that stuff, I've always kind of pushed to the side. And especially, again, with the knee injury, the stuff, I'm just like, come on, man, let's move on from that. But there's a lot of Jets fans that are looking at him right now, Jeremy, and saying, listen, Sulla's come out and talked about how he's going to battle for that left tackle position with George Fant. Okay, that's fine. Competition at every position, that's what we preach. There's a lot of people in the fan base saying if he loses that left tackle position, they consider Mekhi Becton a bust, okay? I'm not saying that. I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm just saying that's what I'm hearing from a lot of fans. I'm arguing with people on social media as well. Now, I'm going to pose this question to you. If Mekhi Becton loses that left tackle position to George Fant, do you consider him a bust? Do I consider him a bust if he ends up playing right tackle?
If he loses that left tackle position to George Fant, and they put Mekhi Becton on the right side, and he is now the starting right tackle, do you consider him a bust, Jeremy? I've gone back and forth with fans. I'm telling you. There's a lot of people that are screaming, If you move him to right tackle, he's a bust. I want to get your thoughts on it.
Okay, So I'm not going to say he's a bust or he's not a bust by that. What I'm going to say is let's see how he does at right tackle. If he plays the year at right tackle and he's a dominant right tackle, I'm going to say, how do you call a player who comes out and even if he's not playing the position you drafted him for, how do you call someone a bust if they contribute to the team? Like if they contribute to the team and he fills that space for us. Now there's a possibility that they move him to right tackle. There's a possibility that he'll play right tackle for a year, maybe two, and then move back to the left. Now, I don't call a guy a bust until you got to go fast forward to the future. Like it's way too early. I don't even call Denzel Mims a bust. People have given up on him. Let's see if we end up cutting him because he doesn't make the roster. Okay, he's a bust. But what if he comes back and he plays really well? So I don't think that I would be disappointed and concerned if he ends up playing right tackle. I'm not going to lie. That would concern me because I would rather see him come to camp and definitively win the position because I believe that Mekhi Becton was on his way to being an elite left tackle in this league after his rookie year. Yeah. That's how I felt, that we were going to have an elite left tackle. So he comes back now and he loses that battle to Fant. Although I still will have hope he can play really well on the right side, and they might be doing what's best for the team because maybe Fant is just a better pass defender, and Mekhi Becton is a pancake run blocker, and they think this is the better combination for right now. There's still a part of me that's disappointed because it throws him off track of what I thought he was. Like I'm hoping the Mekhi Becton I believe in, and that I rooted for, and that I was excited that we had, is the Mekhi Becton that's going to come in and say, "Hey, as good as you are, Fant, I'm elite. Like, I'm special."
Yeah.
And he's going to come in, and he's going to win that job. So I'd be concerned. There'd be a level of concern if he went to right tackle, but I'm not going to say so because he might end up being, what if he makes the Pro Bowl as a right tackle?
Yeah. That's
we're not going to call him a bust.
Argument. Yeah, that was my argument back to a lot of these fans, okay? Again, I play devil's advocate, but in my belief, my personal belief, I think that Mekhi Becton, if he's healthy, again, that knee, we all know it's still healing up. If Mekhi Becton is healthy, he's going to be our starting left tackle. There's no doubt in my mind. I'm saying this. I've said it 1,000 times. I'm looking directly to the people, all the savages out there in the land, in the savage land. I'm telling you, if Mekhi Becton is healthy, he's going to be our starting left tackle, okay? Now, that is my belief. Now, let's say he does get moved to right tackle. Okay, if he does, I'm not calling him a bust because he can still contribute to the team in a big way. Let's say he turns out to be a franchise right tackle. How can he be a bust? Like you just said as well, what if he turns out as a Pro Bowl right tackle? How can he be a bust? You can't call him a bust. He just got sick, but he's still contributing to the team in a different way. You can't do it. And again, right tackle is still a position of impact, still something that makes a lot of a difference on an offensive line, right? So that's my answer, but there's a lot of Jets fans, Jeremy, I'm telling you, that are all over this guy and are just saying, listen, if he doesn't turn out to be this, franchise left tackle, he is done, he's a bust, and they're going to go crazy. I'm sure, again, you've been going back and forth, a lot of people screaming about this, right?
It's unbelievable. Look, if they can scream all they want, he's a bust. I mean, what people scream is it doesn't make something fact. What makes something fact is what they end up producing on the field. That's what will determine it. So, yeah, I'm used to it, right? I mean, every year we're screaming about something. Half the fan base is on one side, half is on the other. So, look, if he ends up being announced the right tackle, I'm bracing for it and expecting of it. People are going to be saying, "I told you so, he's a bust." They're going to be cursing at him, throwing insults, lazy this, lazy that. We should have taken this guy worse or whatever. There's screaming and yelling. But at the end of the day, the games are going to be played, and we'll see what happens when they're on the field. People you got to define what a bust is. Coming into year 3, he's only played 1 year, and he played very well. And the second year, we all know what happened. I mean, how can anybody be in a position to call him a bust at this point? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, listen, as you know, Jeremy, there's some fans that are really pulling for him to fail. I mean, it is insane, some of the things that you hear and see about, Mekhi Becton at this point. Like you said as well, there's a lot of fans that are hurling insults his way, constantly getting after him and stuff like that. But we'll see what happens because training camp's coming up, and he, according to all reports and everything, he's going to be ready. We're seeing the workout videos constantly. He's putting in the work to get back there out there on the field, and I think he's going to shut a lot of people up. Now, when we talk about this offense, Jeremy, I want to touch on the tight end position with you, man. This was a position group that for a while was one of the weaknesses of the New York Jets football team. And I look at it, and I think Joe Douglas has really turned it into a strength, man. What are your thoughts on some of the additions that we've been able to make? C.J. Uzomah, Conklin, Ruckert. What are your thoughts about that, man? And how do you think that Mike LaFleur is going to be able to handle these tight end packages? Do you think he's going to eventually start putting 3 tight ends on the field at the same time?
I don't think he'll do that. I mean, maybe once or something. Maybe you'll see Ruckert lined up as a fullback on a play or two. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
But look, it's not only that it went from a weakness to a strength. What I love about it is it's not a strength because we brought in one big $15 million star. If he breaks his ankle, we're back to square one. We did it by building depth in the position, right? We have 3 guys that are all exciting for different reasons, right? So you have CJ, who's just a fireball of energy, a leader, a veteran, a guy who's going to bring toughness onto the field. Nobody's going to be late hitting our quarterback and getting away with this guy on the field. You have a guy like Conklin, who I've watched tape of him lining up, sliding into the slot, unstoppable, doesn't drop passes, both good at, decent run blockers. Then you have this kid Ruckert, who I think was arguably the best tight ends in the country coming out of college. And when I say that, I mean it from the perspective of well-roundedness. The other guys they talk about were all great receiving tight ends, but none of the guys on the top coming out as receiving tight ends are even in the same class as Jeremy Ruckert as a blocker. So we have completely flipped that position, but what I'm mostly excited about is not only do we have a tight end, we have 3 of them, and we're deep in that room.
Yeah, we're extremely deep in that room. And let me tell you something. One of the things that I look at as well when I see these tight ends, we talk about, the receiving threats, right, which is definitely going to greatly impact Zach Wilson because he can get it to a big guy, solid set of hands, and dump it off when the pressure is going to come, right? CJ is going to be able to definitely, move the chains. Conklin is a guy as well that a lot of people aren't necessarily talking about as much as CJ. But let me tell you something. Tyler Conklin is a guy that can move as well. This is a guy that can catch the football and really get going, solid route runner. These guys are also solid run blockers too, though. And I think that lends a hand to improving this running game because we're in a run-first scheme, right? You talked about Jeremy Ruckert. Jeremy Ruckert, like you said as well, this guy is one of the better receiving tight ends that would come out in this class. He's also one of the better run blockers to come out in the class as well, too. So when you look at what we're trying to do here, we're bringing in these guys that are dual threats. When we line up and we bring these tight ends out here, in the past, a lot of people would have looked at them and been like, oh, well, the Jets are lining up, whoever and whoever they're at tight end. We don't have to worry about them being receiving threats. We're going to just, we're just going to rip Zach Wilson's head off, or we know he's going to hand it off, so we automatically know it's a run play. Well, if you do that now, you'll get exposed because let's say it's a play action. Zach Wilson pulls it back and turns around. CJ's moving. Guess what? He gets the ball to him. That guy's a legitimate receiving threat, right? He's going to take it for some yards. You're going to have to really worry about what the New York Jets are doing offensively now. We're not tipping our hand to anyone anymore. So when we come out and we have guys, you better be prepared because if you sleep on them receiving-wise, you might get cooked. If you decide, you know what, these guys are only wide receiver, okay, guess what? They're going to yoke you up. They're going to grab you, and then next thing you know, Michael Carter or Hall are going to be taking the ball for a couple yards behind them, you know what I'm saying, and breaking free, especially a guy like Michael Carter, who we talked about was definitely able to make plays even though a lot of the holes weren't there. He was able to kind of jump through, do his thing, make his cuts, and really, have an impact last season. And I think with a lot of the things we have up front now, especially with the additions of tight ends that can run block as well as being receiving threats, I think that really is going to help our running game. What are your thoughts on that, Jeremy?
There's no question that's so, it's so important. People are thinking not only does it help Zach Wilson in 2 different ways, and that is, yes, having the best friend receiver, right, and having that extra receiver on the field that you can trust and get open, but so much to help improve the run game, because the real way to help Zach is to establish a great running game. If we can control the ball and we can get positive yardage running the ball, it just makes his life so much easier because now you pull extra guys into the box on defense. Now you can start do the play action. You have guys, and if you start doing play action and they have to put guys in the box because Carter and Hall are just going off, how in the world are you going to cover Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, whatever combination? How are you going to cover them? I mean, Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore are fast, explosive, crisp route runners. It's like, what a headache because you're in this we're going to put defenses in such a bad situation if they can't stop our run. They're going to have to stop our run, and in order to cover our receivers, they're going to have to do it with 7 guys, and that's going to be really hard to do when you have tight ends who could block with our offensive line. If that offensive line stays healthy, and you have the talent of Michael Carter and what we think Breece Hall is, it's just going to be off the charge for us.
Yeah, and another thing as well, I talked to people about the tight ends having the effect in the running game, but let's talk about the red zone. The New York Jets had issues scoring points last season. Well, guess what? Now when you can go out there and throw a guy like Jeremy Ruckert, CJ, and Conklin at him in the red zone, guess what? We become more deadly. We've seen other teams do this throughout the league. Hell, let's look at the Patriots. The Patriots did it for years. They would come in multi-tight end sets, and you just had to try to defend that height. You had to try to defend that size in the red zone. And they cooked every single year. They cooked us year after year after year, finding ways to utilize the tight end position to really expose and explode on you in the red zone with big guys just going up to catch the ball or boxing guys out to catch the football as well, making really easy throws and continuing to move the chain. And that's going to be my final question there for you, Jeremy, is how much more of a threat are the New York Jets now in the red zone when we have a lot of these big body guys that can catch the football in the red zone now?
So much more, and I'll tell you, because the red zone starts with one position, and that's quarterback. And then that's one of the areas that Zach actually had great numbers. He was actually really good in the red zone. As far as completion percentage, lack of turnovers, that's where he was able to protect the ball. So the problem was not quarterback. The problem was for a lot of the season we had either an offensive line that didn't understand the system or an offensive line that was decimated. Now, obviously the return of Becton, Tomlinson, our offensive line is going to be stronger, which is going to make it, obviously make it easier for us. But having 2 quality running backs that are so explosive and having tight ends that are so dangerous is just going to make us that much more unpredictable. I mean, I think we're going to be a dangerous red zone team because I think that we're the type of team now that is going to be what we were meant to be and what the system intends it to be. We're going to be able to muscle the ball in with the running game a lot sometimes too. We're not even going to have to go to the air. When you have when you have a running back duo like that and you have an offensive line like that with tight ends helping, we are going to cause a big problem for teams, I think, just by establishing that running game and forcing them to play the run and focus on the run is going to leave guys like Elijah Moore in one-on-one situations, and a guy like Ruckert or CJ in a one-on-one situation being covered by linebackers. Zach is going to have a lot of targets in those situations, and that's where you want him to go off script and roll a little to the left and give guys time to scatter around the end zone. I mean, I could see it being very deadly.
Yeah, I could. Now, before I let you go, Jeremy, this is going to be my final question for you, man. You've been bringing the heat, man. You really, really have. So before I let you go, who do you think is the most underrated player on our offense right now?
The most underrated player on our offense right now. That's a good question. I think 2 I could name, but I'm gonna go with Corey Davis.
Okay, go ahead, talk about him.
I think that Corey Davis had some struggles in the beginning of last year, but I think that had a lot to do with the entire offense as a unit and as a team. I think there was a lot of I think they were overwhelmed especially early on in the season, in those bunch of games early on. I think there was a lot of just chaos. Not to plug my own name, but there was a lot of chaos. And I think that's part of. I don't think he has a career, like a history in his career of dropping passes and slipping and making some of the mistakes he made. I think he was trying to do too much. I think he came in there, things were falling apart for the team, and everybody was off their game because with things going wrong, you lose that chemistry where you're all trusting each other and you all feel safe and, comfortable with each other, and you're all individually trying to change things. And I think that he had some drops because of that, because he was not in the right frame of mind. And keep in mind, he still had a bunch of touchdowns, was still on pace to get close to 1,000 yards receiving if he doesn't get injured. So even in a year where people were upset with him and disappointed with some of his drops and people were criticizing him, he was still going to be on pace to be possibly the first receiver we had in a long time that broke 1,000 yards. So I think that he's being overlooked because not that I'm not super excited about Elijah. I love Elijah Moore, and I think he's going to have a breakout year. I think that we get so excited about Elijah Moore and so excited about, obviously, Garrett Wilson, whose ceiling is unknown. We get so excited about these guys, we forget about the known guy. And just because his ceiling might not be as high as those other two, and he's a little bit more defined of, like, who he's going to be in this league, doesn't mean we should underestimate him. He's still a very solid player who's going to, really contribute and help us win games.
Yeah. You listen, Jeremy. That's a good take there. Listen, Jeremy, you brought some heat, man. Studio audience, give this man a hand. Give him a hand. Come on. All right. Give him a hand. Whoa. Okay, I do not pay you guys for extra claps. Okay, all right. We just a little clap here and there, and then you move on. All right. I think Jeremy's a good guy, but come on, guys. I'm not going to pay you extra. Okay, that's not happening. Listen, Jeremy. Before I let you go, man, give everybody your YouTube and everything that you're doing. You're doing a lot of great stuff, man. Give them your YouTube where they can find you and get in contact with you, man.
Sure, I appreciate that. I'm just Jets Chaos. It's that simple. Jets Chaos on YouTube. I am so close to 1,000 subs, so I'm almost there. So hopefully if anybody is not subbed and is hearing this, if you like what I had to say, give me a sub and get more of it. And, man, it's an absolute pleasure for me to come on this show, man. It's like one of the fun things I do when I'm able to and my calendar is clear when you're on. I love talking football with you, man, and I can't wait to have you back on my channel.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jeremy. You have yourself a good night, my friend.
All right. Take care, buddy. Take care, everybody.
All right. Jeremy calls in and he has takes, man. He has takes. I really, really enjoy talking football with Jeremy. Always a good time talking Jets, man. That guy's a Jets fan through and through. But we're going to keep on getting to these lines. Again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639. Call in. We're taking all callers again. If you're watching the stream, please subscribe. If you have not subscribed already, please hit that notification bell as well. Also give the stream a thumbs up. Share it with your friends and your family. You know what I'm saying? Also, if you want to give to the platform, the Super Chat's there. If you don't want to hit the Super Chat, the Cash App is at the bottom of the screen. Anything you give to the platform is greatly appreciated. So we're going to keep going to these lines. Next, we're going to my guy, Rusty, okay? For those of you that do not know, Rusty, he's a savage. He's a savage. He's a damn savage. Salutes to you, Rusty. I want to thank you for calling in tonight. How are you doing, my friend?
Salutes, Joe. Salutes, fellow savages. I'm doing all right. How are you doing, bud?
I'm doing all right. Listen, Rusty, we talking Jets linebacker position tonight, man. And I'm looking at this linebacker position, and I think it's the weakest position group on this defense. Do you agree with me?
I definitely concur. Yeah, I do. I mean, I love what we have with the attitudes of Q, but CJ is really like that guy that we know about, depending on what, all our others do. But, yeah, I don't know. I was a little discouraged we didn't get Chanel. Still wanted him, but, it is what it is. And, I mean, we still have we can still take care of it in that fashion, and we don't really know what we have in a sense. But you're spot on with it to where it's if there's an Achilles, if there's a hole in our defense, it's
watch your language.
It's looking. I did. I backed off. I reared the horse back. It's good. Yeah, I realized what I was doing. It's been a long week, but
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, it's okay. Go ahead.
And but yeah, that's how I'm feeling. But I trust in it, and I trust in the teeth of the defense, and I got faith in that matter. It's just I want a thumper. You know what I mean? And we need like a pudge thumper, if you will, like some guy that's big, dense, and is just quick laterally and up and down. You know what I mean? Just has that quick sprinting ability type of thing, like a really good cone drill guy, to where he can just sniff out a screen, take you out, or vice versa, protect the sides of the middle, and just put the fear of God in people a little bit. They need that, and you don't really see it, but then on the another level, like I trust in Salah and I trust in what we're doing, but that's what I think we're missing a little bit, but we could have that system, and I believe in it to where you can just keep it interchangeable. I'm sorry, bro. Go ahead. What'd you say, bud?
No, listen, I hear you. I'm looking at the Jets linebacker position as well, and I'm saying I like CJ Mosley. We all know that he, definitely came up big for us last season, but he's just getting older and older, and we know that Father Time is undefeated, right? I think he'll still be able to come out this year and be productive for us. Quincy Williams looks like a guy that, man, a lot of people are excited about him. There's a lot of Jets fans that think he could be, a guy that can compete to be a Pro Bowler. There was a lot of flashes last season from him at linebacker. I'm excited to see what he's going to bring to the table. But after those two guys, it's like we're wondering. And I think one of the biggest parts is, or two of the biggest pieces is these two young guys we have at backer, at Hamza Nasruddin and Jamin Sherwood, that are coming off of, pretty big, injuries, an Achilles injury, an ACL injury. And I'm wondering if those two young guys are going to step up. I mean, can you speak to that, Rusty? What are your expectations for those two guys, and how important is it for them to develop as linebackers here with the New York Jets?
It's extremely important. But then, I'm looking at this, and, I adapt as we go. I was also one of those cats that last year I was like, good God, I was like, our cornerbacks are, that's the whole of our defense, that type of deal.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be flipped on this year. You know what I mean? That type of thing.
Yeah.
I'm uncertain, but you're spot on with it. The guys being injured and everything. The Dean Amin having everything happen to him, and same thing with Sherwood. And they need this. They need the preseason. They need the everything leading up to the our regular season, and then get in there with the season. We're starting off with a boulder coming at us full speed, the whole NFC North. And there are no pushovers. So, and we got a hell of a schedule in the beginning that the NFL always likes to throw at us because we're just loved by them, but it is what it is. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So I'm I'm optimistic about our linebackers, of course, but I'll be certainly happy if, to eat crow again, if, like last year when I did with the cornerbacks. Like, good God, what is this? Yeah. What's going on here?
Yeah.
So.
I mean, how about you? I'm hoping as well, I'm hoping as well. I know there's, I think K'Wan Alexander is still out there. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if he's been signed at this point. Again, things are, still moving. But if he's
I feel better to scoop him up too.
I would love for the Jets to be able to bring him in and finally get him signed. He's a guy that's extremely familiar with the system, Sulla, all that stuff. So I would like to see him brought in. But this linebacker position is definitely one we're going to have to keep our eyes on, especially going into the season, because we saw it struggle last season. We saw it struggle against screens. We saw the struggle against backs coming out the backfield. You remember when we were getting lit up by tight ends? Like, historically, the New York Jets have issues covering tight ends, but we got lit up by tight ends last season as well, man. Whoa. Pitts went off on us. There was a couple of guys that went off on us, right, last year, Rusty?
Oh, my God. Yeah, we were worse than, like, Christmas trees on fire when you, like, plug them in. It was bad. And It was right, and you're like, that's the thing that I'm like freaking out about. Like, I am so done with the screens. That was just like, really, 3rd and 21, and you get what?
Yeah.
How, consistently, you know, like, and those sort of things, and with the tight ends, I just, I don't know. And that's in a good way. I don't know. You know, it's not like how it was in year past where it was like, oh, God, I don't know. This is more of like, you know, a good optimistic type of I don't know. I have, you know, I'm on the other side of feeling it. So, and to feel that on the linebackers and the other guys, you know, it's pretty good. But it's oh, God, those screens, you know, I'm getting flashbacks. It's like numb. It's getting me. You know,
Rusty, we were getting cooked.
I was never in Vietnam, by the way. You know, I'm in my 40s.
It was bad. It was bad last season. But, you know, I'm hoping that, again, with a lot of the other pieces that we added as well, that those things will be shored up. Now, going over to the offensive side, there's a lot of guys that people are starting to talk about, man, about, you know, coming back and having better seasons than they did last year. And a lot of people are excited about our wide receiver core. A lot of people excited about, you know, what we've done, you know, along our offensive line, running back, stuff like that. At this point, Rusty, when you look at this New York Jets offense, who do you think is the most underrated player that we have right now offensively, in your mind?
Well, you know, my boy. I mean, I'd probably have to go with Mimsy. But honestly, because everyone's hating him. You know, and it is what it is. But
talk for him.
Yeah, I see it. You know, I really do. And he's putting pedal to the metal this year. He's stacked on his weight, and I don't. You know, I'll just be that guy. I like him better than Corey. Corey drove me crazy with the drops in those. You know, I understand he dropped. You know, I understand completely. But when it was like those certain clutch types of passes, that's what drove me insane. You know, I mean, I'm a Jets hooligan savage anyway, but that was, you know, those things that gets me. You know, and he's a body catcher. You know, like he has his awesome points. Don't get me wrong, but I'm a hands dude. You know, like I'm a Moss, Chris Carter guy type of thing. You know, those are my types of receivers, and. I don't. Yeah, that's the types of things that drive me crazy. So
you think that Mims is
those
the
up
most
and
underrated guy? You think that Mims is the most underrated guy? You think that Mims is the most underrated guy that we have here offensively? Like, Rusty, I get it, but Mims has got to get on the field, dude. He's got to get on the field.
That's absolutely.
I watched him get beat out. I watched him get beat out by guys that were not here, you know, for off season or nothing. He was getting beat out by guys.
Yeah, they were working at
FedEx
a week before.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I feel you, and that's why, you know, like you asked me who's the most underrated. You know, like there you go, like dude from FedEx, freaking beat him out. So, you know, how much underrated can you get? You know, so I'm going with Mims. Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, I guess I'm stubborn. I'm a mule in that fashion, but this is the make it or break it year for him. You know, for me. But I don't know, from what I've seen in college, what I've seen in his rookie year, and him, I don't know, he just a never quit, never want to die attitude, especially in the preseason when they're throwing up Hail Marys and they're just laughing at him and he goes and gets like 41 yards or whatever it was. You know, he produces. And I don't know, he's got fight in him. You know, he's got heart. So I'm not out on him yet.
No. Yeah, listen, Rusty, I hear you. So my final question for you, Rusty, is, man, when you look at this tight end position, like it's definitely been upgraded. Like, and I always smile when I talk about it now because in the past the tight end position was always a big question mark for the Jets, right? Ever since like Dustin Keller and I think we had Austin Safarian-Jenkins for a little bit, but honestly, it's just been a desert there at tight end for us. And we finally got, you know, a GM in here that has said, okay, we're going to make sure that the tight end position is, you know, put together well. You know, now we got CJ, we got Ruckert, we got Conklin in the building. Give me your thoughts about what Joe Douglas has done to really transform this tight end position, and talk about how the strength of, you know, the tight end position being the strength of the offense now affects Zach Wilson.
We're going to steamroll Cats. That's 1,000%. So when we're backed up inside the 15 or something like that, we're going to run 13 personnel and run it beyond efficiently. Same thing in the end zone. I think we're going to run 13 personnel more than people would think, honest to God, because why wouldn't you? You know, and then you do it to the point where you can just have all of a sudden, you know, Elijah running. You can have Wilson running. You can have Mims, or you can have, you know, Corey running. Everybody switch at the same time. Now the defense is like, huh? Now you go from thud-packing dudes to all of a sudden straight-up speed and athleticism. What are you going to do? You can't change your linebackers and your dudes that quick. So I think we're going to be in for a pleasant surprise. And those guys, like you said, they're all, you know, they're bulldogs and such. You know, they're just chomping at the bit types of things. They're like rancors, actually. You know, it's awesome. It's just they go for it and they won't be denied, and they're hungry. And I don't know. I'm very happy about it because at least we got dudes that use their hands to catch, use their brains to actually think, and been part of teams that know structure and everything, you know, like how to do things, whether it be Ruckert, you know, he was at my Ohio State. You know, you're playing in the college football playoffs. You have to beat Michigan. You know, you have to beat Penn State. Those are playoff situations in themselves that are on unbelievable stresses, you know. So in that regard, like, he's sort of baptized in that fashion. So all of these guys have been similar. Same with CJ. He's been in the Super Bowl, you know, lost that. He's pissed. And, you know, now we got him. And he's going to be like, all right, this is how we're doing things. You know, you have those types of guys, those types of coals in the fire. And Conklin is a maniac. He looks like he won't be denied, and he shows it on the field too. And he's been restricted in Minnesota. So it's I don't know. It looks like a pressure vacuum that's going to explode in a great way for us, and it's going to. I can see us doing beyond. I can see us doing very, very well this season, and being very happy.
Yeah, I am. I'm telling you, added weapons, and again, you get those big guys moving. I keep talking about it in the red zone. I have seen the New England Patriots 2-3 tight ends out there on the field and just maul people. We've seen it. We saw them do it with those two tight ends. Look, I mean, geez Louise, look at what they've done, you know, just recently with just Mac Jones. They gave him Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry. They immediately snatched those guys up immediately, and they gave him two big targets to utilize. There's reasons. I'm telling you, the tight end position can be utilized extremely effectively. And let me tell you, we got three guys that we're definitely going to be able to throw at people this upcoming year, Rusty, that is going to cause havoc, and not just in the receiving game, but also we're going to be causing some havoc in the running game too, because these guys can run block as well, Rusty. Am I right?
Absolutely. And I can't wait till we do the screens on people, because it's oh my God, I love it. You're going to have Carter and Hall, you know, and then who else knows? You just it's determined dudes, and it's, you know, now Carter has help. You know, he's a slender back in a way, but he's a pounder. You know, he can't take that abuse. You know, he showed it. He gets nicked up. It is what it is, and he doesn't care. He just goes for it. And God bless him, but you know, sometimes he is his own worst enemy in a sense. But now you got Hall too. Oh man, it's, you know, it's just, as the days go by, I'm just liking it more and more, and I just it's very, very promising, and I'm excited because I've had enough, and all of us should have had enough, because we've been you know, like it's time. You know, it's enough. You know, we have to gangrene the league and just start dropping bombs out of it, and I'm looking very happy at it, and no prisoners. You know, like, I don't care. Yeah. Go ahead, cry. There's no sympathy. I'll give you a bucket for your tears, and I'm going to drink it. So, you know, you're welcome.
That's what I'm talking about, right? Listen, Rusty, I want to thank you for calling in tonight. You have yourself a good night, my friend.
You too, bud, and shout out to you and the fellow Savages. Let's go Jets, gangrene for life.
All right, salutes. Listen, Rusty calling in with some fire. That's what I'm talking about, man. I'm telling you, a lot of people are not talking about the New York Jets tight end position, and I'm talking about it, okay? Because I'm telling you, Mike LaFleur is going to have his hands full. He's got three weapons that he can utilize. These big body guys that he's going to be able to throw at you. And this is not even talking about our wide receivers yet. You know, again, we got Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, Elijah Moore. A lot of people not talking about Braxton Berrios as well, some of the things that he can do for us offensively. You know, I'm telling you, putting things together. In the running game, my guy Michael Carter, I know a lot of people are starting to talk about him a little bit less since we got Hall on the roster. I think he's going to be a phenomenal back for us, but Michael Carter's a guy that really put some things together for us last year. He's one of the guys that I think a lot of people aren't talking about enough is my guy Michael Carter, okay? He's coming out the backfield catching the football. We saw him be a great playmaker last year. Yeah, he, you know, got nicked up a little bit, but that was a guy that really, really propelled us offensively for stretches throughout the season. Really did his thing. So now I'm going to go ahead and close up the show. It's been phenomenal, man. I had a lot of talk tonight. I don't want to thank everybody for calling in. Listen, I am a man of the people. I'm here for the people and shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook. It's the Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page with content's up. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me a message right back. I love going back and forth with folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love going back and forth with you folks about what I do here on the show. All right? Again, I am on Twitter as well at YoungDay000. YoungDay000. Go ahead. Follow me. I'll follow you right back. You want to troll me? No issues. I am the troll that lives under the bridge, and I will have my Vera Tucker jersey on at all times. I will have that Elijah Vera Tucker jersey on at all times. Be clear. All right? I'm just saying, you draft linemen from USC, and they step in and take care of business. All right? We took this guy. You already see what he's doing. You already see dominating people. I know a lot of people, you know, talking about Denzel Mims. He's phenomenal, but my guy Jeff Smith, you slip, you sleep, and he might take that fifth wide receiver. He might grab it. We've seen him doing work as well. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. You know, you get the guys from SC in the building, you know what happens. You know what I mean? You do work. You know, fight on. So go ahead and, you know, again, follow me. I'll follow right back. In the show's page is at the Long Beach Journal as well for the show. Go ahead and follow that page as well. Talk to me about these New York Jets. I'm also on YouTube as well. On YouTube, go over to YouTube, search Long Beach Joe. That's Long Beach Joe Jets on YouTube. So go right, hit that notification bell. All right, you want to troll me over there? No issues as well. I will troll you right back. Hitting those comments and let's go back and forth. All right. And there's always people when you see me in person, because you will eventually. It is arms out, chest open, free hugs for everyone. Free hugs for everyone. The hugs will always be free. They will never cost you anything, okay? The hugs will always remain free. Anyone that's doing different is just lying. Just lying, okay? The hugs will always remain free. So I want to thank you folks for listening. Without you folks, I'm asking nothing. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen and call into the show. You are the greatest. You have a good one. Peace.